Hello, my name is Critical Pulse. This video will be an overview of the RayPulse Trading strategy / indicator. The indicator was coded by Ray Meeks and is based on a proven strategy which was created and tested by me, Critical Pulse. I've been trading this strategy for roughly 2 years or so. The strategy takes both the user's risk management into account and trades in conjunction with the higher time frame trend direction. A couple of things this indicator does and does not do. One thing it does is it gives the entry signals long and short. It gives a stop loss location. It gives a stop loss percentage. It allows the user to limit signals based on personal risk tolerance. Uses multi-time frame analysis, which are determined by the user. It trades with the higher time frame trend, and of course it is beginner friendly. The entire purpose behind the indicator is that it's beginner friendly. What it does not do is tell the user when to take profit. It does not dictate your risk management. It will not catch every single opportunity in the market. And of course, it will not win every trade. That's an unrealistic expectation. We currently have 2 versions of the indicator available, the beginner or normal and the pro version. I'm going to go over some of the settings on the beginner or the normal indicator. So this use auto trend uses the higher time frame trend to determine signals. So if the higher time frame trend is in an uptrend, it will only give you long signals. If the higher time frame trend is in a downtrend, it will only give you short signals. So this is determined based on this trend factor setting. So to kind of simplify that, if I'm on the 1 hour chart with a trend factor of 4, it uses the 4 hour chart to determine my higher time frame trend. If I'm on a 2 hour chart with a trend factor of 4, it uses an 8 hour chart to determine my higher time frame trend. So it's the current chart times the trend factor equals the higher time frame trend, or the chart that it's using to determine the higher time frame trend. So a 6 hour chart with a trend factor of 2 would use a 12-hour chart as the higher time frame trend. So what this aggressive exit setting does is it gives you a signal to get out of a position before there's confirmation of a trend change. So as soon as the first indication of a trend change is given, it will give you this aggressive exit. So if I click this, you can see where the exits or the hard exits change from one position to another. Basically get you out of a position much earlier. So I'm going to gloss over the trend mode only because our suggestion is to keep this on 1. Entire strategy is based on 1. However, 2 does give you different criteria for an entry. I guess you could back test 2 if you'd like to on different assets and determine if 2 is better than 1 for you. But currently we use trend mode 1. Trend mode 1 is the tested strategy. Trend mode 1 is the default for the indicator, and for right now we would definitely suggest leaving this on trend mode 1. So analyze long-term trend. This is used if you don't want to use auto trend. So if you want to choose your higher time frame trend chart, then you would unclick the auto trend and analyze long-term trend, and now you can choose. So I'm on the 1 hour chart now. Now I can choose the 4 hour chart to be my higher time frame trend. Or I can choose the 12-hour chart to be my higher time frame trend, whatever you want to use there. But in order to use this, you have to unclick the use auto trend and click the use analyze long-term trend. If the auto trend is clicked, it's always going to use the auto trend. It'll ignore this analyze long-term trend, so it won't matter if this is clicked or unclicked. We definitely suggest that you use the auto trend with a trend factor of 4 through 6, either 4, 5, or 6. And kind of an important thing to do is to quickly back test and to see how good your signals are with your current trend factor settings on whatever chart you're using or whatever asset you're using. So an important setting on the indicator is this risk management max stop loss percentage. So what this does is it eliminates signals that are outside the user's max stop loss percentage. So if I'm trading and part of my risk management is that I won't take trades that have a stop loss location more than 10% in this case, then what the indicator will do is eliminate those signals. So if I change this to 2%, what you'll see is a lot of the signals get eliminated because they're outside of my personal risk tolerance. So the next few settings are basically how the dashboard looks to you visually. And when I'm refer to the dashboard, I'm talking about this dashboard that you see in the upper right-hand corner of my chart. I'll talk about the dashboard a little bit later in the video. One other important setting is this disable entry repaint. What that does is, with it clicked, it requires a candle close before an entry signal is given. With it unchecked, it allows for repainting. So I'm going to reset my settings to default, which is where I personally like to trade, and talk some about the terminology. So these E's, which stand for entry, either green or red. Green would be a long entry and red would be a short entry. And as you can see by scrolling over top or hovering over top of the signal, it'll give me the entry price, which in this case was 34,203.13 for a short, with a stop loss location of 36,125, and that stop loss percentage would be 5.32%. So following this same signal, this HSE, or hard short exit, this is basically a signal to get out of the position because the trend is turning, the trend is changing against you. And this should not be taken as a take profit. This is more of an emergency exit. So the beginner indicator doesn't tell you when to take profit. So I do suggest taking profit early and taking profit often. But you will see these hard short exit, or HLE. If we scroll back to the indicator to a long position, you see this is an HLE, which is a hard long exit. These SL labels, of course, mean stop loss, that a stop loss was triggered within the indicator. And of course, this one, the stop loss was negative 6.06. Of course, this goes back to taking profit early and often. On this same signal, it was in profit 1.77%, but later went to stop loss. So had you taken profit early enough, you would have made a 1.77% profit, or at least up to 1.77% profit. However, by not taking profit, this signal actually went to stop loss. So again, it is important to take profit early and to take profit often. Anytime you're trading, that would be my suggestion. This last signal was a pretty decent signal as well, with an entry around 33,741. The max P&L was 8.34%, and then the hard exit got out at 4.05%. So again, taking profit early and often, you could have made up to 8.34%. If you let it go to the hard exit, that was 4.05%. So quickly to go over the dashboard, which is what you're seeing here in the upper right-hand corner of my chart. This shows the current trend analysis, which is indicated by either a green or a red box, and of course the bull or the bear icon. Shows the last signal, what it was, whether it was a long or a short, what the entry was on that signal, what the hard exit was as far as price goes. Then it shows the minimum and the max P&L for that specific signal. If you're in a signal, if there's an active signal on the chart, then it will give you the status of the active signal, whether it's in profit or not in profit, and by how much. So sometimes you'll see these green or red dots before a signal is printed. What these show is that some but not all of the criteria are met for a signal. So it's kind of a pre-warning that a signal may be coming. Not all signals will show a green or a red dot. If all the criteria are met pretty fast, then you won't see a dot to give you a warning that that signal is coming. However, some you will see a warning that some but not all conditions are met. Once the conditions are met for a signal, then of course a signal prints. And this happens on both long positions and short positions to tell you that a signal may be inbound. This is a good example where 3 candles, some of the conditions are met, but not all. So a signal didn't print until all of the conditions were met. So quickly, I'll go over how I personally trade this using the indicator. I'm going to back the chart up maybe to, we'll say here. So generally, I would set alerts so that TradingView lets me know when a pre-signal or a warning signal prints, or when an actual signal prints on whatever time frame I'm trading. And in this case, that's the 1 hour chart. So see right here, I would have got an alert that a pre-signal or a warning signal had printed. So a couple hours later, of course, we get an entry. Scrolling over this, I go to my exchange and I put in the entry price, or as close to the entry price of 35,768 as possible. I put my stop loss at 34,783, which is 2.75%, well within my personal stop loss margin, or the limit that I had set in my settings earlier. So 34,783. It's here. I'll put a line here. So that would be our stop loss. Moving forward, I'm taking profit early and often. So at 5.11%, this is before leverage. So that's quite a bit of profit if you're on any kind of leverage. 10x leverage, that would be a 50% profit. So I'm definitely taking profit, probably way before that, but we'll just assume that I'm taking it here. When I take profit, I'm taking a percentage of my position off, out of the market, and I'm moving my stop loss to break even, or above break even. So in this case, we're in profit, moving our stop loss, letting the rest of the position go. Again, we're at 8.11%. I would have taken more of my position out right here, maybe 10%, move my stop loss up, and let the rest of the position go. We're at 12.09%. That's a that's a good area to take profit again. I'll probably move my stop loss up under that support level. And there we got a hard exit. So we got a hard long exit at 10.53%. So we'll do that again, this time with a short position. So I'll back the chart up to before this last short. So I'm waiting to trade on the 1 hour chart again. Right here, I get an alert, or if I'm watching the chart, that a red dot has printed, or a pre-signal or pre-entry, whatever you want to call it, telling me that some but not all conditions are met for a short position. We know, because we backed the chart up, that this is going to be a short entry. So, but yeah, right here, the next candle, I get a short entry for 30, with a stop loss at 35,517. So I'm going to put my So that's my stop loss location. So I'm in my trade. Of course, I'm taking profit early and I'm taking profit often. I know I've said that many, many times, and I'm going to say it many, many times again because it's extremely important to do. So as price is going down, at this point, I've definitely taken profit on the position. It's up 3.36% before leverage. So I'm going to move my stop loss to break even after taking some of my position out of the trade. Again, it's almost doubled that. I would probably do it again. Take more of my position out, move my stop loss, probably around in there somewhere. We'll see. So at 9.96%, I can promise you that I'm taking profit again and moving my stop down. So here I would have been stopped out of the trade in significant profit, but stopped out of the trade. Had I not moved my stop there, let's just see what would have happened. Bam, we get a hard exit with a P&L of 4.05%. With a max P&L of 8.34%, which is pretty decent trade by anybody's standards, especially on any kind of leverage. 8.34% would be, you know, on 10x leverage, that's 80%, which is significant. Now, again, I'm cherry picking these, of course. Not all trades are going to end up like this. Some of them actually go to stop loss. We can do one that went to stop loss. So back in the chart up to, I don't know, here. Again, alerts are set. I'm waiting to trade on the 1 hour chart. I get an entry signal. I clicked it pretty fast, but I get an entry signal here with a stop loss of 35,000. I don't know if I can put it right on 35,000. We'll go close enough for demonstration purposes anyway. So I'm in the trade. As you can see right now, the trade is at a negative. It jumps to 1.14%. Now it's at 0.86%. At 1.76%, had we taken profit and move our stop to break even, this would be a winning trade, and you'll see just a second. So now we would have been stopped out of the trade after having taken profit, and our stop is at break even. However, if we had not taken profit and we're still in this position, it ends up going to the stop loss here. So a couple things to close out the beginner or the non-pro version of the indicator. First of all, taking profit early and often. I'm going to say that once again, but also understanding what type of market you're in, whether you're in a consolidating or a ranging market or a trending market. And scrolling out to the higher time frame, it's easier to see this. But a ranging market, of course, is a market that's trading within a specific range, whereas a trending market is a market that's printing higher highs, higher lows, and trending in one direction or the other. So the indicator is going to give you more signals, probably less reliable signals in a ranging market than in a trending market. Also, so because of that, it's important to take profit more often in the ranging market than in the trending market. You can get away with it a lot. You know, letting your take profits go a little bit more in the ranging market, at least in my experience. So just some personal notes with the indicator. I personally really like the 4-hour chart with the default settings. It gives some pretty decent signals on the 4-hour chart. And of course, if you were using the indicator on the 4-hour chart, you would have gotten a short signal before the market dumped and ticked everybody off just recently. And also, this is built for a beginner trader. The idea behind this was that it would be accessible to and easily understood by beginner traders. So I hope this helps everybody. Of course, hit me up in Discord if you have any questions, comments, snide remarks, or criticism.